From the OU TV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics. Proudly combating the thought police since 2016, here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. Mr. Giuliani? More like Mystery Giuliani, the man, the myth, the distraction. Rudy Giuliani, Trump's personal lawyer, finds himself right in the middle of the administration's latest scandal, which could be a major tipping point in American history. Yesterday, the House Intelligence Committee issued a subpoena to Rudy Giuliani as part of the House Democrats' rapidly intensifying impeachment inquiry. The subpoena seeks documents related to Trump's efforts to pressure Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden. Well, specifically, really, to get dirt on Hunter Biden, Joe's son. So show me the documents, Rudy. Now, Rudy Giuliani has literally been going on Fox News and showing that he has all of these text messages with the Ukrainian government, and now Congress would like to see him up close. They want up close magic. They want to see the mystery man in person. Now, Rudy ran an influence campaign in the Eastern European nation where he was an intermediary between the Americans and the Ukrainian governments. Even though, mind you, it's going to be weird, he doesn't actually work for the State Department, which, this would be the State Department's domain. Yet the State Department works for, the American people. But not Giuliani. Giuliani works for the man himself, Mr. President Trump. And he was working with Ukrainians to advance the interests of Trump's personal political interests. Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff would call this abusing power of the office of the president. So how do Trump and Giuliani respond? Off with Schiff's head. This whole impeachment thing revolves around whether Trump compromised U.S. national security when he asked Zelensky for a favor. Top Democrats said that Trump violated his oath of office and abused his power to extort a foreign leader to interfere in the 2020 presidential election on his behalf. Moral of the story is, Americans, by and large, want to see an election next year. They want to see democracy in action and want to elect the next president. But they're being robbed of that because we simply cannot trust Donald Trump will not lie, cheat, and steal his way to 4 more years. The man has literally gotten away with using Russians to help arguably win the 2016 election. And what did we learn out of that whole scandal? Not a goddamn thing. He's going to do it again. And he's caught red-handed right now. What's Congress going to do? America, this is your moment. Chaos over the pond continues. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is now being accused of a Me Too type incident where he groped a Sunday Times columnist at a magazine luncheon in 1999. He's also accused of abusing his position as mayor of London to grant favorable treatment to a friend, U.S. entrepreneur Jennifer Arcuri. And Jennifer Arcuri received thousands of pounds from a government agency that Johnson oversaw. And apparently Jennifer and Boris were, having an affair. The incident spans a couple of decades of the Prime Minister's career, but certainly points to a culture of abuse of power and the old guard treatment of women as hot pieces of ass to be played with as if they're special little toys. It seems as if he can do whatever he wishes because his dick's a genie lamp that he just needs to rub. On Friday, the issues were referred to a police watchdog, which is considering whether or not the Prime Minister should be investigated for misconduct in public office. Speaking on the Andrew Marr Show on Sunday, Johnson insisted that everything was done with full propriety. Senior ministers in Johnson's newly assembled cabinet have been called upon to defend the Prime Minister. Yet, a member of Johnson's cabinet, Matt Hancock, said that he knew the accusing journalist well and described her as trustworthy. Oh boy, another he said, she said, Me Too debate. Since taking office in July, Johnson has been widely criticized for his use of language in relation to women. Many thought he crossed a line when he seemed to call Labor leader Jeremy Corbyn a big girl's blouse. I don't know what that means, but I think it's a really offensive thing to say in British, Only 34% of women say that they find Johnson likable. Does Johnson use a calculated blend of racism, sexism, and buffoonery to appeal to his base? It sounds like an American playbook to me. Los Angeles elected officials are increasingly looking to sweeping statewide initiatives to shake loose solutions over homeless encampments. The latest proposal would have the governor declare a state of emergency on homelessness in California. Now, California, is it time to declare homelessness an emergency? Supporters view such a declaration as a novel strategy to free up state and federal funding, typically reserved for natural disasters. This move could also curb a lot of "not in my backyard," those NIMBY opponents from using environmental reviews to sue and delay or block homeless facilities from opening. One of those NIMBY campaigns is happening in Venice, and it's called Stop the Monster. Critics argue that an emergency declaration would be merely symbolic, given President Trump's rejection of more federal funding and Governor Gavin Newsom's commitment of $1 billion for local homeless programs and support for more regulatory relief. The state statutes regarding emergencies were not designed to respond to long-standing political leadership and moral disasters. Yet here we are in a homelessness crisis, which is becoming a possible hot-button issue in the 2020 election year. Newsom has not taken a stand on a current request for a state of emergency declaration. Now, many in Los Angeles have been frustrated by the sluggish pace of construction of new shelters and housing for the estimated 44,000 residents in the county, including 27,000 which are right in the city, who live outdoors in tents or in cars or in lean-tos, as opposed to shelters or other temporary housing. Even temporary tent shelters on public land have actually become bogged down in multiple approval processes. It's just more red tape after more red tape. Only 477 emergency shelter beds have been added in the last 2.5 years for households without children, which form the bulk of the homelessness population. In California, it's been generally accepted that it's okay to live outside, which is the root of the problem in the crisis. Some believe that what is most important is stating a clear public policy that it is not okay for tens of thousands of people to be living outdoors. Bring them on in between four walls with a roof over their head.